I absolutely love budget watches, especially ones that bring a ton of value. And in my opinion, this Cadisen C7064 brings a ton of this very value. Now, of course, shortcuts had to be made to get the price of this timepiece to a very manageable $35. That's it, just 35 bucks. So we are getting just mineral crystal here, no sapphire. But hey, for 35 bucks, seriously, we are getting all stainless steel though, and that is great. We're getting a mecha-quartz movement, meaning that we get a chronograph, a fully functional chronograph with precision of up to 0.2 seconds. That is pretty much excellent. We get a really nice strap on here. So the canvas strap is actually very delicate, very good on the skin, but it looks a bit utilitarian. So somehow they've combined the utility and the comfort, which is great. We get stainless steel keepers as well here. So everything about this watch looks like serious stuff. And the actual dial looks amazing as well. So interesting watch, $35. That's all it's going to cost you. I really want to tell you about this watch because it's very rare that we get something below the $40 mark with so many strong points about it, because usually the shortcuts are absolutely massive under $40. Like alloy cases for around $30-$40, that's the norm. But stainless steel and something coming from Cadisen, like this is a serious brand we're talking about. Anyways, I can drag this out, but I won't. I want to get into the details of this review, and that's what we're going to do right now. Now, the link to the listing will be in the description below the video, so do check it out if you're after a sharp price. And now, let's dive in. Alright, so here's the situation. You're scrolling AliExpress, minding your own business, and boom, this thing pops up. A full chronograph, stainless steel case, VK68 mecha-quartz movement for 32 bucks. I mean, how? How do these companies even make money? This is the Cadisen C7064, and it's one of those watches that makes you stop and double check the price twice, maybe 3 times, because it just seems too good to be true. Now, under the hood, we've got a Japanese VK68 mecha-quartz movement. This is where things get interesting. It's a hybrid, part mechanical, part quartz, which means you get the satisfying snapback chronograph reset and the smooth chrono sweep, but with quartz accuracy and reliability. The battery lasts around 3 years, and it ticks along at a precision of roughly plus or minus 20 seconds per month. Not perfect, but plenty fine for everyday use. And you get that 0.2 second hand tick, which adds a nice touch of visual polish. Now let's talk dimensions, because this is where the Cadisen C7064 really starts to shine. You're looking at a case diameter of 40 millimeters, which in my opinion is the sweet spot. Not too big, not too small. This thing works for pretty much every wrist out there. Honestly, you could even call it unisex. The height is 12 millimeters, and that's largely thanks to the raised fixed bezel, which stands tall and proud, but never feels bulky or top-heavy on the wrist. We've got a 20 millimeter lug width and a compact lug-to-lug of just 46.5 millimeters. That, combined with the canvas strap, means no overhangs, no awkward gaps. This thing hugs the wrist perfectly. And speaking of weight, it's just 75 grams with the strap on, so it wears incredibly light, but still feels solid and well built. Now look at the way this thing sits. The canvas strap obviously helps pull the case in close, but take a look at those lugs. They're aggressively downturned, almost diving down toward the wrist. That makes for an insanely ergonomic fit, especially if you've got flatter wrists. But here's the real kicker. Check out the profile. The case sides are finely brushed horizontally, which gives it a nice tool watch look. It doesn't reflect much light, but once you move up to the lug hoods, boom, it all changes. We've got this flare that widens out from the midsection to the tips, and the polished lug hoods create a subtle but punchy contrast. And yeah, you're not imagining it. That's a twisted lug profile. A little Speedmaster DNA sneaking in there, and that's not an accident. It's a surprisingly refined design cue for a $32 watch. Wild. It's a layered look too. From the flank to the high polished bezel, you get a mix of textures and finishes that really pop in the light. There's a lot of dynamic light play going on here. Again, not something you usually see at this price point. Flip to the right side and you'll find a signed push-pull crown plus 2 polished chrono pushers that sit semi-guarded into the case. And around back, a clean screw-down case back to keep things secure and simple. This case is not just good for the price, it's good full stop. Let's take a quick look at the strap. It's a black canvas that feels flexible, yet still tough enough to handle daily wear. There's a utilitarian vibe to it, but it's not rough or uncomfortable. The stainless steel keepers are rectangular and brushed, matching the finish on the case flanks, which makes the whole setup feel really cohesive. It's not just a strap thrown on for the sake of it, it actually suits the watch. And because the canvas is black, it ties in perfectly with the black sunburst dial, giving it a clean, streamlined look. Nothing flashy, just practical and well executed. Alright, let's move to center stage, the dial. But before we get there, we've got to give a quick nod to the crystal sitting on top. It's mineral, not sapphire as we mentioned earlier, but at $32, honestly, we're not holding that against it. What's interesting here is how it sits just slightly above the fixed bezel, giving it a bit of depth and layering. The bezel itself is black with clean white printed numerals. Sporty? Yes. But it still leans elegant thanks to the 40mm case size. It's bold without being oversized. Now, shift your eyes past the crystal and you're met with this piano black dial. It's got a subtle sunburst finish, which only really shows itself under direct light. Most of the time, it just looks deep, inky black. But get it in the right lighting and it opens up with a quiet shimmer. Around the edge, we've got a clear white chapter ring that helps frame the whole dial nicely. Applied batons mark the hours, and they're cleanly done. Sharp, no rough edges, and well aligned. Then you've got the 3 sub-dials, slightly sunken and treated with just a little more of that sunburst texture, giving them contrast without shouting for attention. The layout is familiar and balanced, 60-minute counter, 24-hour sub-dial, and running seconds. It looks polished, especially when you consider what's ticking underneath. And that brings us to the VK68 movement from Seiko's TMI line. Gives you the best of both worlds. You get quartz accuracy, down to about plus or minus 20 seconds per month, and a mechanical-like sweep when you hit the chronograph function. The pusher action is tactile and snappy. Resetting the chrono is fun to watch too. It doesn't sweep back slowly, it jumps back with precision, and it's easy to replace when the time comes. So what you get here is a well-layered, well-finished dial that punches way above its price point, visually dynamic and technically sound. This isn't just a dial you glance at, it's one you'll catch yourself staring at, especially in the light. Hopefully you did enjoy the review of the C7064 from Cadisen. Now, a $35 watch that has all these perks is pretty much unbelievable. What I love about it is that it is stainless steel. I don't like the fact that it's not sapphire crystal, but for $35, I'm not complaining. And yeah, functional chronograph, 0.2 seconds precision, wowzers. Anyways, the link to the listing will be in the description below the video, so do check it out if you're after a sharp price. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.